Hello, welcome to this edition of Exotic Gardening UK Yorkshire Kris Weekly, and on this week's episode we're looking at my plans to change the garden in 2021. Hi, welcome to the garden on this very chilly Sunday morning. It's absolutely freezing. We had -4 last night and it's still below zero now as I film this on the morning, and all the plants are completely frozen through. But thankfully all that snow that we had last week, and you can see that on my last week's episode, is all gone and we don't see any immediate damage apart from a couple of crushed plants. So in this week's episode we're going to be looking at the plans for the garden, and they include the entrance or the exit of the deck area, the first area where we had the vegetable beds, and also the Jubaea bed near the middle to end of the garden. So let's have a look at the first area now. So in this part of the garden the idea was to enclose the decking area by plants growing up, so that's why the bamboo, got the palm behind me, and the Acacia delbata over here as well. But the plan now this year is to actually remove the Acacia delbata. A couple of reasons. First of all, the reason I wanted to enclose this area in the first place is so that you didn't see the greenhouse that was just behind us. But that's been removed now and I want to see the view down the garden. The Acacia, sadly, with all the snow we had, is leant really far over and it's just not in the best location because it's basically, well, it looks very sorry for itself and it's just in the way. So the plan this year is to get rid of these ropes and have a step down path that goes down straight into the garden with the Trachycarpus palm sort of framing it on one side. And that would mean you don't have to jump off the deck and go around, which we've been having to do before. So steps down here, straight view down into the garden, and then I want to show you the next part of the garden because I've got quite big plans for that area as well. Now you can see from this point of view that the Acacia, although it's in bloom, has really been hit by the snow last week and it's falling over here. I've propped up one of the branches with the deck there so it doesn't completely fall over. So unfortunately I'm going to have to cut this down and it will open up the view down the garden, which is something I also want to do. We've got down here this very low curved wall and that's been holding up all this planting area here. But when I cut this down, what we'll have is quite a big open area where I can have a nice flowing steps down into this area from the deck into the main part of the garden, and there'll be more natural flow straight off the deck through this area. And then as we go around, we've got a new bed that I'm making this winter. So in this area here, this was where the two big vegetable beds were, and I've basically taken away the old rotten borders of the vegetable beds, got rid of those, and then all the really nice topsoil that were in there, I've built up this bed behind me so it's raised quite a bit, and I'll add drainage when I plant this up in spring. And over here it continues where the palm trees along the fence line go, and where the greenhouse was we're going to build up that area as well. What I'm going to use to support this, obviously I'm not going to leave it as it is, I'm going to use wooden logs basically to support this raised bed, going all the way down and continuing and meeting up with the logs that we have for the main part of the garden. So it'll be one continuous bed, and then I will plant this up in spring. And I've got some palm trees that I want to put here. So we've got the Trachycarpus princeps palms that I have at the moment around the big Jubaea down the far end of the garden. They're going to be transplanted in spring. I'm going to have 3 nice princeps palms along this fence line, and we'll plant it up with annuals as well for some nice colour. And because I've got rid of this vegetable beds, it's opened up this whole area which is full sun all day, so I can have a nice seating area as well. I'm not going to put a new material down here yet, so no sandstone paving down here this year. I'll just continue with some chip-ins, I think, just to keep the costs down for this year, and then next year I will put a nice stone patio in this area. So in this area you can see I've got loads of compost and soil. Actually this topsoil is really good quality and it was only £1 a bag, so I bought 50 of those. So that's a ton of topsoil that I'm adding to this area because it was a greenhouse before, and it was obviously a base which I've dug out, got rid of all the stone, the rock, the metal, and dug over the ground and put this topsoil on, and then the border will continue. So these log rolls down here will continue around and to finish the border that way. I still have the power supply from the greenhouse. We've got 4 plug sockets here, so I'll be able to use that for lighting and things like that in this area. Now this is my main Jubaea bed, which is that huge palm in the middle that's much bigger than me, and it needs more room to really stretch out and fill this area. So the Trachycarpus princeps palms, you can see left and right, either side of the aloe in the centre, these will be dug up. And if you remember last year, I cut round, like with spade, around the palms to sever some of the roots in preparation for the move. So that will have helped bulk up the roots around the centre of the palm, and it'll be much easier to transplant these. So we've got 2 there, and I've got a third around the other side. And when I remove these, it will really give the Jubaea much more space, and I can remove the lower leaves of the Jubaea, highlighting the really thick trunk that it's developed now, and it'll look a much more impressive palm in this area. And then these nice Trachycarpus princeps palms, which are getting quite large now, relatively speaking, these will look really nice much further closer to the house where my palm tree line is with all the Trachycarpus species. So that'll be done in about March, April time. And here's the other side, the other view of the Jubaea bed, with another Trachycarpus princeps palm down there, as well as more aloes. And again, once they've been removed and cut back the lower leaves of the Jubaea, it'll look far more impressive in this site and really show off this huge focal point. Now this large island bed near the end of the garden is getting overgrown and a bit messy really. It's got really no sort of focal point, and it's very, very green with no colour or flowers in it at all. And one of the issues I've got is the grass, miscanthus grass in the centre. Obviously it's died off now, you can still see a few of the old stems. It shades out everything on the other side of the island bed in the far corner. And what I'm going to do is dig that up, which is no mean task. That is really, really tough, almost as hard as bamboo to get out of the ground once it's established. But I'm going to dig that up and move that somewhere else in the garden, and it'll open up this area. I've got this wonderful bootier here, and that will obviously have this nice sunny corner, and that will stay. And we've got the bamboo as well. I'm going to thin that out quite a lot. And the Musabaju is a bit struggling because it's shaded a bit by the bamboo and it gets hit by it, which damages the leaves in summer. So cut back the bamboo a bit, cut back the miscanthus grass, and add some colour to this area. I've got lots of other palm trees just sort of hidden behind. I've got several of the princeps hybrids in here. I have got cannas in this bed, and at the back there's a big Tetrapanax Papyrifera rex as well, which is about 2.5 meters tall of trunk. So that will stay because it's overhead canopy, but I want to clear out a lot of this and add some colour. So I'll just show you around the other side of this bed. So this is the other side of the bed looking back towards the house. I've got these beautiful palm trees down here which I'll let grow higher than head height eventually, but I will put some colour in this area once miscanthus grasses are removed. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK Yorkshire Kris Weekly. Join me next time, where hopefully it's warmer and I'll be doing more in the garden.